Yay, my computer is fixed. It's bigger, it's badder, and it's an awful lot faster. My 5 videos a week commitment didn't last long, did it? But let's be fair, it's not my fault. In the meantime, I've got over my hamstring, but sadly for me, I now have a groin strain. It was a wayward pass down the line that I stretched too far for and had to come off straight away. Gutted. But you don't want to know about that. So what's been going on since last week? Piggate. I was gutted my PC was broken during the dropping of this bomb. Think about this. Our current Prime Minister is being accused of sticking his willy in the mouth of a dead pig. Forget the other accusations about him being incompetent on foreign policy. Tell us something we don't already know. Just stop laughing about Piggate for a moment, settle down, and really think about what this means. Our current Prime Minister is accused of having oral sex with a dead pig's head. He inserted his penis into the mouth of a dead pig. We've had people accusing former Prime Ministers of killing and raping children, and now our current Prime Minister is accused of pig sex. Sex with a dead pig's head. Unbelievable. But let it linger for a minute. Think. Really think about what is being said here. David Cameron isn't fit for office. He's an international laughing stock. Can you imagine what the other EU leaders are thinking of him at the refugee summit that he's currently attending? I wonder if Nigel Farage, Tim Farron or Jeremy Corbyn have ever put their winkies into a dead pig's head. My God, we need to get rid of these Tories once and for all. Is it true that David Cameron had sex with a pig? It really doesn't matter. To the out-of-touch Tory graph, the fact that our Tory Prime Minister may have had oral sex with a dead pig's head is nothing. It just doesn't really matter. Could you imagine if we were talking about Gordon Brown having sex with a dead pig's head? I wonder if it wouldn't matter then. I haven't heard anyone in the mainstream media come out and say that this is utterly disgusting and that Cameron is clearly no longer fit for office. I hope Jeremy Corbyn makes something of it in the next PMQs. Let's be honest, it's an open goal, isn't it? But why do these rich, privileged, posh, silver-spooned arseholes do these type of things in the first place? Well, it's so that they can be blackmailed later in life and they can help out other dead oral piggers when the time is right. Otherwise, they'll expose them. So beyond finding out that our embarrassment of a Prime Minister likes to put his willy into dead pig heads, we hear that George Osborne has actually paid the 1.7 billion to the EU that they demanded last year. Remember that? David Cameron and George Osborne said it was a disgrace and that they simply would not pay. Well, as I said at the time, they would and they have. Cameron and Osborne, quietly, pay 1.7 billion from Brussels, which they dismissed as totally unacceptable. You see, the EU is a dictatorship. And because successive governments have given away our freedoms and our right to govern ourselves to an all but in name European superstate that nobody has ever voted for, that is run by unelected bureaucrats that we can never hold to account, we're told what to do, what to pay, and what laws to introduce. Why, only this morning on Sky News, that world-renowned teleprompter reading Eamon Holmes, why do we have to go to 4 weekly bin collections just because the EU says so? Well, that's just it, Eamon. Because the EU says so. We've given away our right to govern ourselves. If you looked up every now and then and stopped just slavishly reading the teleprompter, you might be able to see what's going on. Revealed, 73 MPs earn over 3 million from not doing their day jobs. Scores of MPs are being paid millions of pounds a year for external jobs, a new report has found, which condemns the rules governing how MPs are able to carry for external work. The study from Transparency International, a campaign group found that 73 MPs were paid $3.4 million in the past 12 months for external advisory roles, including some cases board positions. So it goes on with our MPs, doesn't it? They're fleecing the public with expenses, and now they're also continuing to fleece us by working for other companies when they should be doing the job that they're paid very well to do. Being an MP is the only job that I know where you can just not bother turning up every day and go and work for someone else for a few days and then come back as if nothing had happened. We need to start again. Our system is broken. It can't be fixed, like my computer. It just needs abandoning and rebuilding from scratch. Volkswagen scandal could kill off diesel cars. The Volkswagen scandal could spell the end of the diesel engine, experts have predicted, as the fallout from the firm's falsification of emissions data spread across the world and piled further pressure on its chief executives. They're also saying that this could also spell the end for the petrol car as well. Well, isn't this a lovely coincidence? And right on cue, first driverless pods to travel roads arrive in Netherlands. The first self-driving electric shuttle for use on public roads has been delivered to the Netherlands. The WePod will take passengers between two towns of Werder and Burr in the province of Brabant from November. Have you ever wondered how they're going to get us out of cars and into electric self-driving cars? Well, they'll simply make diesel and petrol cars illegal, so we'll have no choice. We won't be able to buy a diesel car. We won't be able to buy a petrol car. And I bet you we will just accept what they tell us as fact and go along with it without any resistance, as long as there's an iPad in the car that you can play Kanye West's songs about raping women and children. How does it go again? I rape and pillage a village, women and children. What a disgusting man he is. Why hasn't he been arrested for talking about raping children? Anyway, once driverless cars are in towns and cities, we'll then be told where we can travel, where we can't travel, when we can travel, when we can't travel, how we can travel. It's called UN Agenda 21. If you don't know it, look it up. It's going to affect you a hell of a lot sooner than what you think. But this is all planned out. Can you see how they've done it? They don't rule the world because they're stupid, you know. We've also had this article spread across the wires. Osborne's austerity agenda fails to reduce deficit, ONC figures show. UK government borrowing increased in August despite Chancellor George Osborne's repeated promise that austerity is the most viable means of reducing the state's deficit. In the face of scathing criticism, Osborne has consistently claimed the government's austerity policies are necessary to keep the deficit in order. However, doubt over the credibility of his claims surfaced on Tuesday after new figures showed a clear rise in public borrowing for August 2015. Austerity doesn't work. Ever. It's just a transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. That's why the rich are loving austerity, because they're doubling their wealth every few years while the poor are being killed off. Literally. And as Cameron, the pig lover, is at an EU summit trying to avoid pig jokes from other leaders, Donald Tusk has now said that Europe needs to close the doors and windows as millions more migrants are coming. Europe must end its open-door migration policy ahead of an influx of millions of refugees, the head of the European Council said Wednesday night, as leaders pledged to give more money to help UN programs supporting Syrian refugees. The UN's own numbers say that 72% of the refugees are men. If we don't stop them coming, there will be millions. I feel sorry for the genuine refugees, but the only way to stop them leaving is to stop the likes of Cameron and Obama bombing their hometowns. Cameron says he wants stability in Syria, whilst talking about bombing Syria and removing Assad, whilst Russia are now in Syria fighting ISIS, with America telling Russia not to fight ISIS because America have spent a fortune arming and building them up. And Saudi Arabia, who are not taking any refugees, are funding ISIS to cause the turmoil in the first place. The only way this madness will end is if we grow up and admit that the West are the instigators in Syria and they need to stop meddling with ISIS to get Assad. And just think, This is a fraction of what's happened in the last few days. Anyone who say they're bored just isn't paying attention.